It's hard to believe it, but I made the video I'm going to show you now 2 weeks ago. And that's so much has happened since then. It's just astonishing. I made it on the Tuesday, and then on the Wednesday we got the news that the late Queen was very ill. And then on Thursday we got the news that we were all dreading, that she died. So instead of just playing it, I am introducing it because I learnt something afterwards that I wanted to add to the video. And it's this. Meghan Markle is wearing black. As it turns out, the late Queen had specifically requested that the ladies who came out onto the balcony, who were anything to do with a royal celebration, should not wear black. For several reasons. The first is that black should be reserved for occasions when mourning was appropriate. And the second reason was that black is less visible. And so the crowds, the people who have come to see them, don't get that much of a chance. And also, I think there might have been a suggestion that a big hat would be a good idea as well, because all the other ladies do wear large hats or hats with feathers, that sort of thing, so that they can be identified. Now, what's Meghan Markle doing? She is wearing a little black dress and a small hat. In fact, everything that the Queen had requested that she didn't do. Now, I am assuming that this photograph was taken at the Queen's Platinum Jubilee, and but it would have been on some recent occasion when there was an incident of national celebration. And so the Queen would have been looking at her soldiers and at her subjects and taking happiness out of our respect for her. And then Markle turns up in a little black dress and a pillbox hat, and probably no stockings or tights either. That was another thing the Queen and Meghan Markle had a difference about. The Queen asked that all the ladies wear stockings or tights, and Markle turned up bare-legged. So anything to detract from what the late Queen wished. Now, this was her party. And Markle is perfectly entitled to wear whatever she wants, but when she goes to somebody else's party and that somebody else says, well, will you wear certain things, then that's what you do. That's just politeness. It strikes me that that was just spite. And it also strikes me that the fact she was wearing a black dress and got lost in the shadows behind her is good karma. It also reminds me, there was an actress called Norma Shearer, and apparently there was some Hollywood big charity ball called the Black and White Ball, and everybody had to wear black and white. And that was the idea. Well, Norma Shearer turned up in a red dress, and everybody in the room was absolutely furious. I mean, the red dress among the black and white costumes of the other people, it showed up. In fact, that probably must have gone through Steven Spielberg's mind when he put that little girl in a red coat in his film Schindler's List. Again, a little bit of karma. Most of the photos of the black and white ball were themselves monochrome photographs. So that red dress came out as grey, which probably wasn't what Norma Shearer had really wanted. But everybody in Hollywood was disgusted with her, and that thing she did followed her for the rest of her somewhat attenuated career. So it doesn't do to do these things. And I can have some understanding of Markle's psychopathy, but for actually spiting an old woman at one of her national celebrations, possibly the crowning peak of her national celebrations, if it was the Platinum Jubilee. That was unforgivable behaviour. And I'm quite angry. And the video I'm going to show you now, I wasn't angry, but I am angry about this. And I hope it doesn't bode well for the rest of Markle's career, frankly. Now, all right, well, I shall now start the video. Hello. I have noticed that a few Americans have started to talk about how useful a constitutional monarchy could be. In fact, somebody did an interview in which an American, I can't remember, I have very vague memories of it, but it's quite recent, just a lot to think about recently. And he was saying what America needs is a monarchy, although he was modifying it a little bit. No problem with that. I'm not saying that one type of government is better than another for different countries and different circumstances. So I'm just talking about Britain and how glad I am that we have managed to keep a constitutional monarchy. So first of all, I want you to have a look at this photo and remember that it's an institution of which I am quite proud. Just for fun, for instance, let's contrast it with this. I know that was a bit below the belt. I made a video about this just before, so you'll see maybe 2 videos back there'll be something about monarchy. But I'm sorry, when a US president thinks he can win votes by styling himself like one of the bad guys from Battlestar Galactica, well, you just can't unsee that, can you? So, back to the royals, because a film was made a while ago. I mean, that picture there reminded me of a film that was made a while ago. It was called King Ralph, and the premise was, I haven't seen it, so I might have got some things wrong, but the premise was that the entire royal family was done away with in some way. I believe it was an electrical accident, and the nearest relative to take over the throne turned out to be some American guy. I don't know anything about the movie beyond that. And the poster, here's the poster, with a beaming John Goodman lounging about in jeans and a t-shirt and a crown perched on his head. And I actually, when that film came out, didn't find the idea at all amusing. Again, I don't know much about the plot, but I can see that this is a man who has no time for royal protocol and doesn't really fit into being a king, and spends his time trying to make the monarchy less starchy and less serious in some way. Perhaps you Americans, and I'm especially talking to Americans, don't really appreciate how off-putting I found that whole idea. So I'll try to draw a hypothetical analogy. Okay, this is only hypothetical. It obviously couldn't happen in any way any more than the plot of Ralph could happen. As a matter of fact, I do believe that one of the nearest in the royal line right back to the Middle Ages is some sort of sheep farmer out in the Australian outback, maybe a cabinet maker. Anyway, that is beside the point. So let's do a hypothetical scenario. What if there was a comedy film made which featured that somehow a glove puppet was elected to the presidency and turned the presidency from being a dignified unifying focus for the American dream of equality and opportunity for all, this glove puppet turned into the figurehead for a group of political opportunists with dreams of a 1,000-year Reich. I'm sure you Americans wouldn't find the idea terribly amusing, would you? Oops. Moving swiftly on to the royal family then, I think that many of you in the behaviour of Meghan Markle can see what a real-life Ralph would be like. Now, as for this photo, I don't know precisely on what occasion it was taken, but it's obviously the balcony of Buck House, and it's obviously one of the royal celebrations, which always involve military parades of some sort, and usually an RAF flypast. The royals always pay respect to the soldiers who protect them, and they're doing it here. William and Kate, rigidly upright, however many times they've seen that particular display or something very close to it before, and however many times they are looking forward to seeing the same thing again, they maintain a respectful demeanour. You could say a military demeanour before the troops, because the troops have drilled, polished, rehearsed. They've been preparing for this for days and weeks to create a flawless display. So William and Kate are paying due respect to that. Harry too is looking out. He's not looking in the same direction. He could be looking at troops coming from another direction, or he could be looking at the assembled crowd, which also should be given respect. They are there, after all, to show their respect to the royal family and the soldiers who protect them. But Harry is still being respectful, polite and serious. Now to Meghan. What's she looking at? She's looking at the camera. The troops, the crowd, they're not important. She's not paying any respect to them with a fixed, serious expression. She's smiling. She's smiling at the camera. She knows that she'll see those pictures the next day. What she is doing is looking at herself and smiling. Well, it could be that she's looking at the grateful peasants in the crowd below as well, the peasants who are dancing for joy at seeing her as if it were VE Day. Maybe that will be her story in the future. But yes, and that is what the point I try to make when I'm talking about the monarchy. You can contrast Kate and Meghan in that photo very well. And Kate is not born to royalty, but she has taken on the mantle and she's doing it very well and with aplomb and grace. Meghan isn't. And that's what the real like King Ralph would be like. And that's the problem, isn't it? Okay, I'm Granniopteryx. I'm here on YouTube, Rumble, BitChute and Minds. I let you know when I've uploaded a video on @Granniopteryx, Twitter, Gab or Parler. Please like this video. Please share it. Please subscribe. If you are subscribed on YouTube, just check that subscription and click the bell. Sometimes the subscriptions drop. Okay, and of course, support my channel if you can. All the links are below in the description. Until next time. Why not treat yourself or a favoured relative or friend to these magnificent examples of merch? The mugs and t-shirts come in the Granniopteryx design or Granbo with a firearm or the more deadly knitting needles. Go to www.granniopteryx.com and whatever platform you're watching this on, please click like, subscribe and share.